Ahora voy a compartir. Veo que tenemos un viewer. ¿Qué tal, chat? ¿Cómo están? Un saludo a todos. ¿Cómo se encuentran? ¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo están? El día de hoy estamos aquí con un, una reacción, una video reacción, no, una reacción directamente, o sea, cero, raw, así en vivo. Ustedes me están viendo aquí. Del nuevo Nissan, ¿no? Entonces, la verdad es el otro directo, ya lo estaban mencionando, así que bastante hypeado. Que solo tenemos un viewer. Hoy no, se está creando eco. ¿O no? ¿Por qué se está
Soy
creando
yo,
eco?
creo, ¿eh?
Ah, ya.
Soy yo, pues soy yo,
No hay
pues soy
problema,
yo,
no
pues
se
soy yo.
escucha mucho. Ya, listo. Entonces, aquí está la página. Es de nissannext.com/ bla bla bla. Entramos, watch live event. Sí, event. Vamos a ver, tenemos la Z de Nissan Z. Ah, la bonita animación, no sé si lo alcanzan a ver por mi cara o no. Sí, sí se ve. A ver, continue. Ah,
Tapillo,
las
tapillo.
animaciones. A ver. Estamos en directo. Oh shit, estamos en directo. Aquí lo ven, chat, aquí lo ven. Ajá. A ver, vamos a esperar, igual que todo el mundo, ¿no?
Tapiola, loco.
Está cool.
¿Cuánto tiempo hay que esperar? Estoy viendo tu directo.
Supongo que decía 7:30, así que 2 minutos.
¿Estás
Y
emocionado, Wilson, para ver cómo se va a ver, eh?
sí, o sea, ya hay varias renders que podemos verlas hasta que empiecen, ¿no? Varias
A ver, ponlas,
renders
ponlas.
de... O
Déjame
sea,
bajarle volumen acá
como
para que no se escuche.
se las imaginaron, ¿no? Aquí la...
Uy, el amarillo está chido. El que está al
Pero
lado de
este
ese.
es el antiguo, este es el
El
Fair
amarillo
Lady.
está
Mira,
chido.
así las renders,
Hola, ese también está buenísimo.
así, o sea, como que, cómo se imaginan que es,
Sí.
según las previsualizaciones, los teasers que ha dado Nissan por el paso. Estas son las versiones antiguas. Este es el 370, este es el 370, este es el
¿Y
Fair Lady 240,
cuánto crees que cuesta?
de 30.000 para arriba.
Mmm.
Pero igual
Mira si ya
es,
está.
en
Mira
comparación
si...
al... Ay, ¿qué página era? Aquí. No, todavía no. Igual tengo el volumen activado.
Ah, están en directo.
Vamos a ver si
A ver,
está en
ya
vivo
regreso, ya
nosotros.
regreso.
Ya. A ver si estamos en vivo. No nos podemos perder nada, chat. Veo que tenemos 3 viewers. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Am, voy a... Ay, es que mi cámara no sé. Está rara. Está algo chueca también. Siento que me voy mucho. Así que lo voy a intentar. Ahí tal vez. No me dan bowling vlogs. Eso, ahí está bien. Ahí está. Bueno, y ahí, listo. Entonces toca esperar todavía. Mientras tanto va a seguir haciendo un deber, ok. ¿Cuál los leo, chat? Aquí tengo el chat aquí al lado. Ya empezó, ya empezó. A ver, a ver. Ahí vemos los antiguos. 240. Ah, cool. LOL, no mames. No, se ve piquillo, mano. Las taillights, las luces traseras se ven picardas. Buenardio. El volante. Miren las llantas. Nissan Z dice. Y el tablero digital, todo. Y el doble escape también se ve bacanísimo. Este picardio. Y es manual. Qué épico, chat. Qué épico. Ya lo mostraron básicamente. Ya, epiquísimo, epiquísimo. Abajo mi cámara. Ahí están, ahí ven. La primera generación, está en rally y todo. La segunda. Sacóle. Ahí está el 350. De ahí el 370, desde 2008 no tenemos una versión nueva. Ahí está el nuevo. El interior me gusta bastante. Me recuerda bastante el GTR. Del mismo Nissan. Ah, esto es viquísimo. A ver quién nos habla. Las manetas es mucho de la versión anterior del 360, 370.
Hello everyone,
No escucho
and
nada.
welcome to the All the Z fans joining us live from the US, Japan, and around the world. This is an exciting announcement at Nissan because
Les pongo ahí
this
los
is about the
subtítulos
Z.
por si es que no se escucha.
The Z badge has special meaning to sports car lovers and special meaning to me because my very first car was Ferrari Z. For me, I must say, the Z was love at first sight. It looked so cool, so desirable, and when I had driven it, I felt the connection. I knew I wanted to own one. This was 1993. I finally bought a Z, a gunmetal gray with a T-bar roof, and of course, manual transmission. Just looking at the car was exciting for me. Every time I polished my Z, I would spend extra time admiring my favorite angle, the front 3/4. So as a Z fan, I'm delighted to unveil our Z Proto.
Prototype.
The Z, as a pure sports car, represents the spirit of Nissan. It's a key model in our Nissan Next transformation plan, and this proof of our ability to do what others don't dare to do, from A to Z.
Z.
With the earlier crossover, we've started
brilla.
a new era of electrification and
Oye, siguen haciendo.
technology.
Chus, Rafael, estamos en
And with
directo.
the Z, we are bringing drivers
Bueno, chat,
that
tengo que decirles que toda la
excitement
promoción es
of
una caca.
pure sports car.
Saludo al chat.
For Nissan, the Z is our DNA. There's Z in everything we do.
A ver, directo, 3 espectadores conmigo,
Z shows
4.
our
Ah, la
passion
chat.
for emotional design
Sí.
and the joy of
Es
driving.
de la
It
Ah,
brings
ya.
inspiration and excitement to everyone
Nissan
at
Z.
Nissan. When the Ferrari Z came out in 1969, it moved the international sports car
Z.
world. No one had ever experienced a car like that before. The Z offered outstanding performance and stylish design that made drivers realize they have to own the Z. And most importantly, the Z was accessible. Now, we are taking the Z
Ve,
to the next
Z
level.
pone
I'm
Rafael.
excited to announce that
Un saludo al chat.
the new Z is coming. It means a lot to me that Z fans around the world are watching today. The Z Proto you see here is not a concept.
No es un concepto.
The look of this is close to final, and the feel has been engineered for aerodynamics and body rigidity. As we bring the prototype to reality, we are going to deliver a living connection between driver and car. For us, this unique combination of look, feel, and power is the essence of the Z. The Z Proto is prelude to the new Z and true to its heritage. We hope it will appeal to our drivers who have owned generation of Z and also a new wave of young fans who may have raced virtual Zs online. The Z has always given a tangible and exciting driving experience. And true to that, the new Z will have a twin-turbo V6 with a 6-speed manual transmission.
Twin-turbo V6.
Because we want your drive to be powerful, exciting, and engaging.
Twin-turbo V6.
Our team has created an agile, muscular design that's poised and ready for action. The new Z exterior draws on the memories shaped by our dreams of tomorrow. It draws inspiration from the design of two groundbreaking models, the 240Z and 300ZX. When you get inside the Z, you will feel the connection to its rich heritage. And when you drive the Z, you will feel it moving you and Nissan into the future. For more than 50 years, we have been creating the legend of Z.
Z.
I'm glad you're with us for this exciting chapter. The new Z is on its way. Thank you.
¿Y qué tal, chat? ¿Qué les parece? Me gustó bastante, la verdad. Bastante estilizado y bonito. Bastante cool. Bastante cool.
Thank you, Uchida-san, and welcome to the digital unveil of the Nissan Z Proto. Broadcasting from the Nissan Pavilion, Yokohama, Japan. Hello, I'm your host, Chris Pepler. Now, we've got a lot of people around the world joining us for this from the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, and many more. And as a car fan myself, I'm very excited, as you are, and I'm also honored to be here as MC to show you the highly anticipated Z Proto. As Uchida-san told us in his opening message, the Z Proto is a sneak peek into what's to come. In the next hour, you will hear more about this vehicle and what it means for Nissan, for fans, and the Z legacy. And we're not the only ones celebrating Z history in the making. Right now, the 33rd annual Z-Car convention, Z-Con, is taking place in Nashville, Tennessee. And they're joining us live to share in this moment. At Z-Con, we have Adam Carolla, famed radio personality who holds the world record for the most downloaded podcast, The Adam Carolla Show. And he is, without a doubt, a big Z enthusiast himself, with some very impressive vintage Z race cars. So let's check in now with Z-Con to see how it's going on with fans over there. Adam, over to you.
Thank you, man with the coolest voice and better eyebrows. Wow, that car looked great, right? I'm definitely signing up for one of those bad boys. We'll see whose palm I got to grease to get one of those things in my garage. All right, so good evening once again. Thanks for joining us, and thanks again for those joining us from Yokohama. And around the world, welcome to Z-Con, the International Z-Car Convention. For those of you who don't know me, well, that guy said it all. I do a lot of vintage racing. I make some car-related documentaries on occasion. I am proud to say that not only do I do a lot of vintage racing, but I find these cars, oftentimes they're basket cases, do a full nut and bolt restoration on the race cars, and then we go out and hammer the crap out of those cars on the racetrack. So not only do we race them, but we put them back together. So past, present. I love the new stuff. I love the vintage stuff. ZCon is the largest Z-car gathering in the world, and this is their 33rd year. Horns and lights, people.
Un tipo de... No alcanza. Ah, pero todos son Z,
right.
O sea, son 350 y 370. O sea, son
At
autos.
my funeral, I want you guys all in the procession doing this. Tonight we're here in Nashville in the shadow of Nissan's North American headquarters, and there are a couple hundred Z owners here tonight, possibly thousands before the Z-Car Convention week is over. And, oh, we got you with the flash and the light. Give me the horns and the lights one more time. It's good for my self-esteem.
Tanta contaminación, un poquito de contaminación auditiva. Es algo especial, ¿no?
All right, let's take a quick look at some of the highlights from the ZCon 2020 this week so far. Take a look at the monitor. Let's show you some highlights.
¡Hala! Qué épico que sea una cultura así, que todos vayan a un lugar y se reúnan. Y miren también que hay algunos que usan mascarilla y otros no. Pero les gusta. Es lo que hace. Ahí está, familia. Épico. El 240 es bastante bonito. Ahí con la caída del techo, los faros no usados. Ahí está Adam. El otro día estaba viendo el precio de un 240Z y como son antiguos y son cultura básicamente, cuestan como más de $40,000. O sea, van subiendo de precio. Épico, yo creo que es épico. Y la nueva intro de Nissan, ahí la tenemos.
Speaking for all of us here in the U.S. Tonight, we're honored to be joining you for several of the Z Proto reveal. Well, I want to thank you guys. That's what I'm saying. In North America, the Z has a strong 50-year-plus history. The original Datsun 240Z. And for us in Japan, your Fairlady Z. The original one went on sale in it was a late 69 model year, and it went on to sale here in 1970. Since then, more than 1.3 million of these babies have been sold. 6 generations of Zs have been sold here in the United States, and I think I bought at least 27 Z cars. Seriously, thank you for letting me be part of such a big night, and thanks to ZCon members around the world for your loyalty, enthusiasm, and for all things Z. And I'd say that even if it wasn't on the teleprompter. So now it is my pleasure to return it back to Chris Pepler in Yokohama. Chris?
Thank you, Adam. A lot of enthusiasm. It's great to see the pride of Japanese sports car in Heartland, America. So we're going to kick off the talk show on the question and answer session. We've received many questions on the Z Proto from all over the world, from you, the fans. Questions about design, engineering, powertrain, sales timing, availability, many, many questions. And it's great to see. Hey, how are you guys doing? So great to see so many of us, of you participating for this event. So, of course, we're not going to be able to answer all your questions, but we will do our best with the help of these two key people from the Z Proto team. Let me introduce you to Alfonso Albaisa, Senior Vice President of Global Design, and Hiroshi Tamura, Chief Product Specialist of the Z Proto.
Solo se escuchan sus aplausos.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car.
Thank you so much.
You must be, you guys must be so proud.
Yeah.
So, Alfonso, can you show us around? Tell us about the car.
Sure. I mean, right off the bat, I really want to thank the thousands of people joining us today and all the enthusiasts and love we've been feeling actually on social media up until this point. And so let me walk you around some of the big points that as a kid, that Adam mentioned 1970. I was a kid around 7 years old in Miami, and I saw this for the 240 for the first time, and that memory is so still in me that when we had the chance to make a new one, naturally this came out. So one of the things that were so important is at a glance, we wanted this long bonnet and this Z type of low slung cabin silhouette. And one of the key points on that is that as you get up close to the car, the volumes, the hood bulge and the fender must be higher than the trailing edge of the roof line, which you see here. And as soon as with engineering and our design team, we were able to capture that, right away we started to feel that yes, we have something here. And naturally, because our engineers, even in the beginning, were telling us, giving us hints about, how this car would really run, we wanted this low center of gravity. Luckily, the roof line gave us that, but then we introduced the katana sword, and also this lovely sculptural crease line that is also tapering down, which allowed this car to feel like a cat that was ready to pounce. So we were really excited about these kind of steps that we made on the design. But moving forward on the car, let's talk about some of the things that were interesting in the development process, because of course, we have a love of the 240, but this is an ultra-modern car with a lot of power. So yes, we were able to reintroduce some of the issues like this iconic hood bulge is on the 240, but it has a very graceful forms around it, expressing the power and the silky power within. You cannot make a Z without the scooped out headlamp. And actually, we thought about how to make the headlamp feel like tomorrow, but also invoke some memories. And what we took inspiration from the special version that came out a couple of years later, where they put a clear lens on the 240. And that actually, in the sunlight, the reflections that around the car broke the pure circle of the headlamp into two. And we thought, this is it. This is how we're going to do it. So we did ultra-modern technology, but at the same time feeling like the 240. And to be inspired by the memories, the parting line, the hood, the cheekbones, all must create the grille. The grille is not an artificial element. It's the result of things that around it. So that's the front. Let's take a walk around to the back. So as I mentioned, the roof line tapering back, and this cut off rear end, which is very 240. But about 31 years ago, my first trip to Japan, I opened the studio door. I just joined Nissan, and 300Z was a clay model in the studio. And actually, I wanted to go home and restart my life because that was so modern, I couldn't believe it. So naturally, some of these sensual, simple elements and this sense of high-tech is very much 300. But in the Proto, we used the capsule element from 300, but of course, it's an edge-lit LED to give you this, again, this sense of tomorrow. And why don't we step inside, because here is also an interesting twist.
También no mencionaron el doble escape.
Zs have been about performance. Yes, they're beautiful, but they're wonderful things to drive. So what we did here is that we took the purposefulness of the 240 and wrapped it around the body. So when you get into the Proto, you will feel the car is part of you. All the elements are right at your eye level. So as you're driving, you can keep your eyes on the road. And we've introduced modern era things. We have a full digital meter. And of course, we have our information in the center. But everything is organized horizontally and has a purposeful beauty to it. So these are some of the things that we'll have much more time to talk about a little later. But I cannot stop this kind of brief introduction without talking about the meaning of the color. Because 240 had a yellow, my wonderful 300 had a yellow. But at the 30 years ago, the technologies with the paint really created a situation where the designers had to desaturate the yellow for the 300Z. Using modern technologies, we were able to add pearl and add these technologies of modern day and keep the yellow. So when you see this car go outside, this color comes to life in an amazing manner. So really happy to walk around this with you today. And I know we'll have some more time to talk in detail, but I really want to thank you for being lovers of Z and supporting us all the time. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Chris.
Great presentation. Thank you so much. It is really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Mr. Tomer, what do you think about your baby coming to life?
Yeah, actually, for this timing or this stage, I'm very happy to join for such a kind of great time. And Z is my life or our life.
Right.
Nissan of the DNA. So important and so happy.
Right, yeah, it's an amazing looking car. So let's go with our question, our Q&A session. First question will be from Z-Con. Adam, I think you have the question?
Yeah, I have a question for Alfonso, who, by the way, I hung out with at Laguna Seca a couple of years ago when I brought one of Newman's GT-Z cars over there. I think 86, year 86, he won the GT1 championship. So we hung out. He's all Z. So, Alfonso, my question is the reasoning for designing the Z Proto after the 240Z and the 300ZX. What was the inspiration behind that?
You know, obviously the 240 has been in our lives, almost our entire lives. And, so it's always been natural, but I think we've been involved with the development of many Zs, including the 350, where there was actually a proposal that was also a bit of an homage. But the timing now, I don't know, that's the beauty of creating objects, that the context of today and the meaning of today really made us gravitate towards the beauty and the simplicity and the deep meaning of 240 for the company. So it was very natural, and every time we drew it in a modern context, it was very exciting for us. And then the 300, because it really represented an epic break in sports cars. And of course, from my personal experience, it was so humbling, I cannot tell you, when I saw the first clay model, so that when we had the chance to do this, Satoru Tai, who's the executive design director, and myself with our global teams, we're really wanting to see if we can capture tomorrow, but also trigger memories for all the people who love Z. So that's a bit the beginning, Adam. Thank you for that question.
Adam, does that answer your question?
It certainly does, and I have one more for Tamura-san, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you share why it was important for you and the development team to ensure this Z had a manual transmission when other OEMs have left it out?
Oh, it's a tough question, but just my blood says it's must have a manual.
Must have.
You know, the sports car driver loves manual transmission. And, you know, manual transmission of changing the gear, synchronized to the car. My body is contact or connect to the car. My partner. That is very important for key elements of sports car. Then now, our Nissan
tener control. Ve, Luciana, ¿qué
also
tal? Un saludo.
need to change the gear
Ajá.
in the future, I think.
O sea, hacen énfasis en varios
So you're basically
aspectos
saying
que
getting back
que
to
estar
what it's all about, driving a sports car,
Right.
being part of the whole experience.
Estar
being part
conectado
of
con
right,
el otro.
Right. Yeah.
In the studio, I can say that Tamura-san's very animated, talking about the dance partner, and that the manual really is a way to connect the machine to you, as he mentioned. And I think that really affected us in even shaping the interior design and making sure we take things away and sleek things out so that experience of driving can be in the car.
But if I may be so bold, it is a bold move in 2020 to actually bring in a manual transmission, 6-speed.
En el Zoom
Yeah,
están
that's
que
quite.
mueven.
That's really getting back to the roots of things.
I think there's a few thousand people there that maybe
Right.
Estaría cool ver cuánta gente está
Right.
viendo.
What do you think? What do you think,
Déjame
Adam?
ver. Sí, se puede ver.
Listen, first off, I have not driven in a manual shift street car for a while, and I drove here. All my race cars are manual shift, but I drove a 370Z here, and I was a passenger in the car, and it was so much more visceral an experience. I think everyone thinks about driving the stick and, you know, rev matching and all that kind of stuff. Be a passenger when someone is really driving a stick, a manual stick properly. It's a completely different experience to be a passenger in that car. So, yeah, I'm old school. All my race cars are 5 speeds, some 4 speeds, and I love it.
Right. Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to the next question. We have a question from John. And we're having a little problem with connecting. So I'm going to basically read his question. John wants to know, you can see the evolution of Z cars over the past half a century. What makes this car stand out from previous models? Both of you? Who do you want
to go?
Yeah, actually for the Z, it's like our DNA. So let's say somebody S30 or 300ZX of D30 is one of the motif, but the more, you know, Z is the life. And actually for
un
our
garage,
lineup of the Z
básicamente.
is eternity theme of the chase something. Like a life is short, but how to make your some emotional life. Z is one of the solutions. It's a partner. That, you know, sometimes the sports car has chased the time, like 0 to 60, something, attack. It's okay. One the other, entertainment. But, you know, Z is a more deep inside of the some life of the focus point. Then Nissan wants to show you about the Z for more connection for you.
Right. You want to add to that, Alfonso?
Sure. I think that fundamentally, when you think of being inspired by a 240 and a 300, is already a bit of a departure within the generations. So I think, and I hope everyone sees at a glance, that you feel that obviously the silhouette and many elements are a nod to 240, but at the same time, it has the power and performance and many, many aspects of tomorrow. So I think that, in essence, will stand out and really help complement the portfolio, the family of Z cars. So that was our motivation.
Right, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's again, I guess it's more than just, going fast. It's part of your lifestyle. It's something that I guess I wouldn't call it a friend, but yeah, a friend, somebody a partner in your life, somebody. It's almost a person, almost.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, a sports car is probably not a necessary object for everyday life. So fundamentally, people buy because they love and they're so close to this experience that it already sets the tone and the mood much more amorous, if I could use that word. And so everyone who joins Nissan wants to design a GTR and a Z car. And that's how it is here in this family. That's how it is.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go on to our next question. Our question is from Enver. Is Enver going to be able to come online, or should I read his question? Okay, I'm going to read his question. All right. Okay, please show me the question. Okay, the 240Z had a light and agile driver's platform. What was the design brief for the Z Proto, and have you achieved the design brief? Alfonso, you want to take that?
Yeah, of course the 240 is a different context, except if you think about the cars relative to the 240 at that era, it was very modern. We of course think about it now as a homage car, but so it was breaking all the grounds. It was super lightweight, as the question asks. And when we started hearing from our engineers some of the characteristics that they are dreaming about, it's not exactly 240, but with the twin turbo, that's a different type of power. And then we knew that, and we knew that some of the dynamics. So naturally, our designers start to play with center of gravity. We wanted to lower it. We wanted a very wide stance to reflect how the car is going to behave.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that the performance aspects are exactly in the brief to be a 240, because it's a super modern experience when folks get in, and it's going to be thrilling. I can't.
But thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, acknowledge about the 240Z is nice elements. But I think about for all of the content, which not only 240Z. By the way, I had a 240Z G over fender or a nice long nose. That is so exciting design. But for 300ZX or even the current model of 34, the shape silhouette, all of the elements, all of the DNA we install. That's, I believe, about for, don't stick about only 240Z. Yep. All of the babies are Nissan's DNA.
All of them. Right. And this baby encompasses all the predecessors.
Right.
Especially because we're drawing more on memory than specifics. So when you think about a memory, there's always a kind of, depending on our age, I guess, there's certain details are lost. And it helps us as designers, because if you specifically want us to touch designs from generations, it can become a bit of a mix of things. Right. But the team was really inspired by this idea that just think about feelings and things, iconography of the eras and stuff like that, and then bring it. And that allowed us to think about the feeling. The first time I saw the 350 on the road, we designed it as clay, but when you see it real, it's different. And that sense of low center of gravity and that everything centered and the balance of tires, and so there's even a little bit of that.
Right.
It's not specific, but it's in there.
Right. But you really did have a very rich palette to work from.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Okay. I think we're back online. Let's get back to our group of Z fans. This question comes from Adam. Adam, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you for
Oye,
having
¿me
me.
puedes hacer un favor?
Howdy. My question
Wilson.
stems from the design and development portion. I'm hoping that you can share with me
Ahí está el video, ¿no? Porque ya lo
interesting stories
porque ya lo rendericé, entre
during the
comillas,
design
¿cierto?
of this vehicle.
Pero mira,
It is truly
está renderizado, pero mira.
piece of art. Thank you.
Okay.
Bla, 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 bla. Aquí.
Sure, I mean,
Esta animación es malísima, mira, mira, mira.
And
Sí, ves.
of course I mentioned the G, the one that he had, but we have obviously
Sí, es que es mala.
we have the Zama
O sea,
collection of cars.
no sé si está muy rápido, pero es
which,
mala. O sea, es
we
mala,
have
sí.
so many collection of cars which
¿Qué puedo hacer para que sea más fluida? ¿Sí me entiendes? Para que no se vea esto y que se vea esto al final.
We were bringing
Se
some
ve
of those
bastante
in,
mal.
and when we brought the G in,
¿Y qué
that was
plantilla
one
me
of
recomiendas
the
tú?
breakthrough moments
Es que la que tú
because
usaste.
that covered lens
Usa la que usaste
over and
para
that longer
el coso
nose really made us feel like, you know,
de
we
la
could
lectura.
probably push this thing a
Fuiste
little
tú
bit.
quien lo usó
We get that
realmente.
sharp nose and this sense of the
títulos.
continuity of the body and the hood to the
Todo,
front.
¿no?
And
Todo.
so this was a true story, a
en
breakthrough
directo.
for us
¡Chuzo!
conceptually. And you know, also when we started talking about the edge lighting and how do we
Hola.
think about
¿Qué tal?
the feeling we had when we
Oye, Rafael, ¿puedes
saw
editar
that
esa
beautiful,
historia?
polished, simple 300Z
Vas a
that
editar
looked
esto, la mujer estoy
more like a
contigo.
Riverstone.
Te puedo ayudar a editar.
Wonderful. And how can we bring some of that sensuality and
Oye, Wilson, pero mira, este aquí está rosado. ¿Cómo le cambiaste el fondo negro, loco? Bien que sabes y no me quieres decir.
really talking about
recuerdo,
from
Este
the
aquí está
day
rosado, loco.
that he wanted to express a greater sense of sensuality in the Z,
Yep.
even though the power was
eso es historia, ¿ves?
aggressive. So these are all maybe not answering specifically, but even the katana sword was, I feel this was one of those things that the day before it wasn't there and we were happy. And when a designer put that on, and was,
Oye, pero dale doble
what
clic
is
ahí.
that? And because
Aquí le cambio
what it
en-
did to the car was
en estilo no lo puedes
really
cambiar.
settled the rear down.
Pero lo que yo quiero cambiar, verás, es el color. ¿Cómo cambio el color de esto? De esta cosa.
And things were becoming
No se
complete.
puede cambiar, yo creo.
So,
Pero este queda bien, ¿no?
Bueno,
O sea que me da.
Sí, sí, está bien.
You just mentioned katana.
Chucho.
Was the katana actually a motif
¡Ah,
that you
spoiler!
guys kind of had in mind, or did it just kind of
Nacho.
They
out
have
of
Japanese mind
Nacho
sometimes. You know, the Z is
¿Qué tal quedó?
the main region. Actually, we know that for the
Spoiler.
States, for the USA is major 1.3
hacerlo más
million.
chiquito.
Actually, we sold out
Según yo, esto es en
1.8 million
escala,
for global.
right?
But the USA
No, seguro
market
que no,
is,
porque no lo hacía.
yeah, our main customers.
Esperemos que no.
Right.
I don't want to say the other customer is not so
Turu,
important, but
turu,
important
turu,
region
turu.
is sometimes USA market
Ah.
and sometimes our DNA of Japanese root. That's we need to install. That's the origin of the Zenith or
El
something like that.
penacho, el penacho de
Katana is one of
Atahualpa.
the motifs.
Es que te demoraste mucho escribiendo,
Just thinking about
Hacho.
for some weapon or something, or
El
beauty,
penguacho.
or some
El
elegant,
miembro de
or
Atahualpa.
this kind of, how can I say, design element.
Ya, ¿cómo puedo
so
mover esto más
important
arriba?
and
Uy,
root
este es.
came from
Me puede
Japan.
hacerlo más
Right.
chiquito.
But then it also serves a purpose rather than just actually being something pretty to look at. It definitely does have a role to play in the design, a very strong role.
Viéndolo.
yeah, for us it was
Sí.
one of those things that we
Del
didn't.
sapo.
You know, the design process, as you know, is maybe very stressful for Tamura-san, who's responsible for everything.
26.
Because a designer will have an idea
A ver,
that didn't
aquí,
exist
Reino
the
de
day
Quito.
before.
Aquí, Reino de Quito.
I
Y ahí
completely
abajo
agree
leyenda.
with Tamura-san. We are a
Oye, ¿verdad que no me puedo cambiar el color de esto?
international
Es que no sé, como que no queda el
car company. We have
morado gamer,
8
¿qué hizo?
studios
Según yo
all
sí
around the
que-
world. Everyone was
Ok,
having
morado
a good
gamer,
time with
loco.
this
¡Qué
project.
bestia!
But one of the defining aspects
Pero
of
más abajo no lo puedes
internationalism
cambiar.
is that
O sea, donde dice
born
ajustes
here,
y baja más abajo.
and there are some gestures and some movements
Esto.
that define our
Así me
design.
mira, así fue cambiando.
And it's sometimes a celebration
Pero
of
son-
an element that's Japanese.
Esto es muy técnico,
or
¿no?
international
No le
or
cambio
European,
contraste.
but this is the beauty of
Sí, no,
working
pues no.
on projects with our company.
Ahí dice selecciona un
We have a lot
color
of
y está en
voices,
auto,
and the
entonces lo puedes
inspiration
poner.
completely
Arriba, arriba.
spirals, and we're feeding off each other.
Right.
So some of these things, like the katana,
Negro, pues.
really, for me, it helps so much
Negro.
the design because
¿Qué es
again,
esto?
lowered center of gravity also
Auto.
plays against this character
Ah,
line,
ya,
which
verde.
is an anti-wedge
Ala.
character line. which didn't exist on any Z.
Está buena esta
but
potente.
somehow feels very natural. So these things, they're quite organic.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, I think that answered your question, Adam. Now let's go to Lourdes. Lourdes, are you there?
El penacho de Atahualpa. Me
Hi,
parece
yes, I'm
película, ¿no?
here.
Pero bueno.
Good morning.
Hi, Lourdes.
My question is, how does
y
Nissan
otra cosa que me
find the
importaba,
balance
fíjate
between the well-known heritage of the Z and the
que
innovation
Dominica es
that
Atahualpa.
was expressed within this
está
new
potente.
generation?
Oh, good question. Yeah, actually, for homage, it sometimes looks like old-fashioned. But it's not old.
Tu cara,
It's
men.
US.
XD.
And some
Con la
say
vacía
the
y
long
el
wall of the Euro memory
XD.
is a warm
Está bravo.
Aparte que es terrible, loco. Eso queda pronto.
Oye, pero está
Of course,
completo, loco. En
technology
cambio,
has to have
nosotros está ahí
nuance.
todo.
Nuance.
Bro.
Some great, some powerful performance or handling.
Esta parte es buenísima, loco.
All of the
Porque el Cavalry dice, mi hijo varios. Así dice, loco, de verdad, porque es parte de la leyenda.
That's paradox, but something like a homage, which came from
¡Hala!
our heritage into the cover for new technology, or underneath is our technology.
Yo diría
It's
que ya
very
está.
important. Even Nissan
Yo
DNA.
diría X,
All of our products is install such a kind of DNA or technology or philosophy.
As designers,
que se
of course, we are
reunieron.
pure artists.
No,
in the
esa
sense.
es la
There
hermana.
are some
Mira,
aspects
mira.
that we have,
A ver, dije.
the value that we,
Lo podemos tirar en el
the
stream.
companies that we, some of the feelings we have about
¿Qué pasó?
the
¿Se podemos
concept
tirar en
of
el stream, por favor?
our company
Se
and
podemos
our
tirar en el stream. Voy a decirle a Sanganada que te
we
deje hace un
allow
momento.
Ya me mato. Ajá. Disculpen, chat, disculpen. Por si acaso yo no estoy motivado, pero entonces. Está cool, Vaya.
thinking about it, there is a little bit
Está-
about that,
El nuestro
about
está
where we have
incompletísimo, loco.
been and where are our dreams.
¿Crees que no?
So the
No,
question
no,
is a
no,
great one. The answer is that it was quite natural.
Sí, date
It has to
minutos,
do with the
minutos.
context of our
Para
company
cancelar más, claro.
and
Sí.
the dreams of tomorrow and the feelings that we had and to
Sí, sí.
express
Bien que va a
the
3 minutos. A ver, ya.
innovation. The
Cortar.
Z was a monstrous innovation. If you think about
Uy, loco, qué
1969, and
fastidio,
forget
tanta
about
cosa.
the
Ah, sí, otra cosa que quería hacer
1969
es que
launch. Let's think
estaba
about when
viendo
the
aquí mucho tiempo
designers
la
and
imagen que está
engineers
acá.
were creating the Z, which was 2 or 3
poquito más
years
acá.
before.
Ahí está,
That
ya.
to
Listo,
have
así.
an
Exportar.
authentic sports car, you really had to get the European car,
Exportar.
and they were expensive. And this is not part of Japanese society.
Sí,
And so the
25 mega.
240 was beautiful and it drove
4
great,
minutos.
but
Bueno,
it
chicos,
could be
supongo que
in
no
the
sé.
driveway
Oye, Wilson, voy a tu
of
directo,
almost
bueno. A
everyone.
ver qué tal.
Sí,
¿Qué
sí.
se puede? No, mentira, porque por eso me
There's nothing more innovative
Pero no hay
than
problema,
this
de
kind
que
of
se notara
cultural
si lo veas sin
revolution
sonido, vivo.
that I
loco.
believe strongly that the Z was one of the pioneers to
Es
bring
que 7
authentic
minutos para
sports
realizar esta cosa. Bueno,
driving
esperamos, pues.
to everyone. So,
Ahora es que no
I
lo he
think that's
compartido con
some
mi
of it.
historia
And of course, our
tampoco,
engineers
pero
are tireless,
Oye,
so
lo
they were
que he hecho-
bringing innovation all over the
bueno. Pero has
place.
hecho esto.
Actually, this project started from 2017 March. I
En los
believe
obviamente,
Biología ni
about,
nada. Yo creo que ya mismo voy a empezar a hacer
I
biología.
asked to him, Alonso-san,
Sí.
please
Eso también es cierto. Hice esto, son las que
so
mencioné.
make for us about
Brazo,
for
man.
such a kind of some indication, hint for the sports car, which means
Un
of course,
espectador.
and he said,
Son dos.
of course, why not?
Yo creo que se llevan
To be
también.
honest, many arguments would happen
No,
sometimes,
Lo
but
saludé y solamente.
we did
No
that
sé si se. Bueno,
because
no,
Nissan.
A ver,
Nissan
Wilson,
DNA
¿cuál es el
we
Nissan?
must do.
ya
the
lo
audience, for the
mostraron.
customer.
Espérate, que ahora está hablando.
And I think he
Ahí
is
está,
being a
ahí.
little bit humble, not
Está
descriptive.
bastante guapo.
I hear a knock
¿Está
on
bonito
the
que? ¿Está bonito
door.
que?
The
Está
door
guapo,
opens
loco,
just a
está-
little bit.
Es el carro de Bananín,
Smiling
¿eh? Y como Wilson es
face.
Bananín.
Alfonso, can I bother you?
Está bacán.
And he tells this thing, and I was like a bit shocked. But of course, oh my God, this is a dream come true for
Y mira, hay
everyone.
gente en Zoom en el
So,
fondo. loco.
yeah, we jumped right away
Está
and we
chévere.
sent the
Por lo que nos
program
pasan el
over.
código de la reunión.
Pasen
And we
el
started
código.
receiving all these ideas, and we started
el
mapping
código.
out. Okay, where should we go with this?
Yeah,
Ah, sí, no está en Zoom atrás.
Simón.
It's great to hear how,
Está
really
grabando la
establishment
historia.
professionals could turn back into little boys, to create something that's really
¿Ves
fun.
Sonic? ¿Qué tal Sonic entre
I get
estrellas?
that enthusiasm,
¿Cómo estás,
the
hijito?
adrenaline.
6 viewers. Oye, esa historia de WhatsApp nos hizo viral de la nada.
Like,
Un saludo a todo el chat.
I'll
¿Qué
never
tal,
forget
Sonia?
Right. Okay.
¿Cómo estás?
All right, Lords. I hope
Oye,
that
¿por
answers
qué
your
Sonia es
question.
mod?
Now we have Carl at ZCon. Chris,
Cuestiones, Rafael, mis
are you
actuales.
there? Okay, Adam.
Venga, vale, un saludo a Vale. Vale, estoy renderizando el video. Perdón, empecé tarde.
Good evening.
Pero
Saludo,
empecé no
Valeria.
vale.
¿Qué tal?
Pero vale, ya, mira, ya me
Alfonso,
entendió el video. Dame
out
unos
there.
7 minutos que
Good
está
to see you
renderizando.
guys again. How are you guys
Dímelo,
doing out
Bonnie.
here tonight at ZCon 2020 out in the
Chat, por si
field?
acaso, si no tienen el contexto, Nissan está sacando un nuevo auto.
Adam,
Es el del fondo.
thanks
que
for
está ahí
joining us.
amarillo.
Oh,
It's a fun
listen,
time.
I would have been here anyway. I didn't even know this thing was going on. I'm just like hanging out in fields with Z's.
Pues esta Sonia.
Absolutely, and if I
crack.
could, I think I have a question for the guys over there in,
Ajá, un besito,
Japan.
man.
Alfonso, I don't know if you know this, but I bumped into Tamura-san more than once, so this question is aimed more for you. The Z-Car community out here, all these great people that are honking and
morado,
flashing
mi
their
PC va
lights and
terrible.
enjoying the ZCon week, have been anticipating
Consume
a
bastante,
beautiful
Wilson.
new Z-Car
Sí,
for quite
sí,
some time.
sí, se
There's
le
a
había
huge
todo.
appetite for it. And I'm going to ask, for your opinion, what do you think, out of everything that you've done with Proto Z, what are the elements of this new Z that you believe will most excite
Estén atentos al directo, que hoy
those
directo,
enthusiasts
día
out
martes,
here
raro, ¿no? Que hagamos
enjoying
directo los
this
martes, solemos
launch
hacerlo los
event
viernes.
and will enjoy the new
Para
car?
variar un poco.
Oh, thanks for the question.
Para variar. Ya vengo.
Vicariously.
Nunca volverá.
Jump in, sir?
Yeah, sorry. Crystal, can you hear me or can you see my face? Yeah, long time to not see you. It's a honor to for the question from you. And I think about Christian is the head of the Owners Club, by the way. And to be honest, we talk with him or his society how we can make next generation Z. Of course, like not solution, or not like how can I say?
Es verdad que nos vamos de luna de miel,
Displacement. More future, some excitement, like how Nissan to survive about such a kind of difficult work. And simple. Show me about new one. And I said, okay. Then I started to jump in Alfonso's office, and Alfonso said, just a yes. And now here it is, the elements. Oh, so completed about for designs.
Again, he's simplifying. Again, knock, head comes, this time the hand
¿Cuánto eco?
Sí.
like this.
Que tengo eco en el eco.
But actually, he was asking for drawings, Chris. So,
Es verdad, es con el
yes, I was
eco.
aware, and we were.
Porque estoy en el
It was
celular.
very helpful, at least to get a sense from the Z
Aparte
community.
que no tu reacción cuando dijiste no.
Some of the early thoughts, and I think we've reacted and also evolved many elements.
el de eco.
So I think to your direct
Les
question,
digo algo, ¿eh?
I think people will find it arresting the
Esta semana
first
vamos a hacer
glance
un
of the car.
con tanto
Because
portafolio,
even
yo
myself,
creo,
when I see it driving, because I have been seeing
Puedes
it as
darnos
a
un
toy
like
model,
para darnos su
which
apoyo.
doesn't move, and to see it moving, and
Este like
then
nos
to
da
see
fuerzas para hacer nuestros
our dream of
portafolios y tal
triggering
vez hacerles el
memories
de alguno de ustedes.
actually happen.
A los 5 likes.
Pulsito,
It's a
el
bit,
mejor
it's
envío
super humbling,
ya.
first of all. But
Sí,
it's
sí, por
cada
shocking
like
for
es un
people
portafolio
who
hecho.
had their hands all over.
Básicamente.
A los 5
I
likes,
think
Dejen
that's
su
probably why
like.
we are always going to be
a los 5
creating
likes sorteamos un
cars,
portafolio para alguno
is
de
that
ustedes.
Sí,
Yo no lo voy a ver.
yo no lo voy a hacer.
Lo realiza
Manuel
Wilson,
lo
lo
habla,
realiza
Manuel
Wilson.
está prometiendo,
Ah.
Manuel es el que
No,
está ahí. Manuel, déjate que
no, no di la idea.
Ya
So
está,
when you came up with the final,
Ya déjeme
Sí, yo
like.
creo que Manuel ya está.
Anthony, it was just like, boom,
Pero un
this is it.
portafolio de
You got
cápsulas
it all,
de
like,
EC.
Man,
No otra cosa.
this
De
is the
cápsula
design.
de eco, no,
Yeah,
tiene que ya no
to be
existe.
honest, the first time
A
I
ver, chat, voy
saw
a desactivar mi
data,
cámara un ratito.
because in our company we
Oye, si lo comparas con el video de
invest,
ciudadanía, porque
with
no
all
está
the
muy
modern
Grecia vino.
technologies in my
Verde,
office, I
¿verdad?
have full VR, and I don't even need to get up
pero
anymore.
yo creo que mañana de
There's some
ciudadanía,
weight
así que no sé
gain.
por qué me pongo por ahí.
Exacto,
But
exacto.
the first time I put the
Es
goggles
como va
on,
este video
and
por allá
eyes
en
on, and we saw this
Oye, ¿cuál era el
this
grupo,
car,
loco?
the
¿Íbamos
rear
con Cookie
fender.
o
I
no
think
con
when
Cookie?
people see it it in person.
Sí, ¿no?
This
Pero
beautiful
también con
stance
Robert.
of this
Con Cookie, con
sensual
Robert, conmigo,
muscularity
contigo.
was
Sí.
so visible, and I think that these are the things that will,
Oye, ¿quién hacía eso? No me
people will
No me
react
acuerdo.
as we reacted when the first time we saw data. And then when
¿quién
you see
leí
clay model, you then
tanto año al
start
Pennywise?
enhancing and make it okay a little more.
Oye, ese video es
He's a
buenísimo.
little more.
bueno,
His
loco.
nickname is a little more.
Oye, Robert sí sabe
He's
de
a little
memes.
more
Oye, la
Fender,
verdad es que
a little
Robert vendía
more
buenas
this,
cosas, ¿eh?
and
memero,
oh,
Robert.
Robert vendía buenos aportes a
very,
memes.
a great
Hay que hacer los
experience. I think that this is
premios
some of the things.
ex-holas. El más
Premios
memero,
Exolas,
el que más
¿estás
aporta.
We have
escuchando eso?
another question.
El más memero, el que más aporta al final de año.
I guess
El
we're
que más
having,
aporta en
I
clases,
guess
el más
again, we
gamer,
can't connect.
el que pone mejor música,
Okay, so
el
I
más
should
FK,
read this
El
question.
más
Era
FK.
Gustavo.
Okay, this is a
El más
question
sim.
El
from
más FK es
Lib.
Gustavo.
El
Why
más
do
FK
you
es
think
Gustavo,
the
porque
Z
siempre
is
pasa en el
such
servidor de
a
FK.
sports car icon?
Actually, we didn't make icon. You made it. So this
Ah, por eso Gustavo está cantando lo de
our
Infeliz.
Z
Ajá. Es que Robert también lo
drivers,
puso
this
en
kind of
música.
energy
Ah, ya.
made an icon. That's very
Bastantes
important for
básicos.
our energy. So Nissan
Hay que mirar por
basically
general. Chicos, si quieren unirse
was-
al
is
servidor de
made
Exolum
by
lo tienen
customers'
complicado.
energy.
La verdad.
That's why
La verdad.
icon. Thank you for
Sirve lo del
acknowledge
Patreon.
again.
Pregunto, ¿qué tal
Leo
Leo Delgado? Un saludo.
Are you
Leo
talking to the, just the emotional aspect, or are we talking about some feedback?
Grande, dice. ¿Qué
Yeah, of
tal?
course, many feedback or
Esta.
many, how can
Gracias,
I say,
amigo. Gracias por pasarte por el
pressure
stream.
came from. Yeah.
Deja tu
But this
like
pressure
y
is
quizás,
so nice energy for even
te
for me
volvamos a
or for
saludar.
team. Everybody
Quizás.
is
Solo si nos
enjoying
comentas
about
que ya dejaste
this
tu like.
pressure, nice pressure.
Y tengo que ver cómo
Because
ese manito
our
arriba
audience
crece.
or our
Como el
customers
I3.
so lovely Nissan lovers. So I'm very happy to get
Leo,
this kind of
¿cuánto es
pressure.
14 menos 1? Escribieron en el chat.
And I think at the end of the day,
O sea,
it's
es una pregunta muy
undeniable that
interesante,
because
la verdad.
of 6 generations and
Sí,
50
porque yo no sé
years,
dividir el chat y necesito
and
saber
these
qué onda.
cars have gone to every corner of the world. Down New
Fue
Zealand,
grande.
Australia, up England,
Ah, no,
and all
delgado.
around
Leo el
the
grande.
world,
¿Ves?
South Asia, they're
Messi
everywhere.
chiquito.
And they,
Messi
I think
grande.
it's because of the mix
No, que se me petó el Chrome,
of
terrible.
this iconography
Se te
of
petó. Hoy
of
tengo
Z,
que hacer
which
ese
was a
video,
car
loco.
that everyone can
Ahora recién
¿Cuál
son
video?
enjoy and be
8:30
impressed.
de historia.
So
loco.
as
Ya,
a result,
ahora,
many
por
people
internet.
enjoyed the
¿Pero qué?
experience, and it's a blend of
18:30 es
this
hora
performance,
Fortnite.
this
Sí, pero es
arresting
que ahora
beauty,
estamos ahora Nissan.
and so I think
Tienes
it's a
razón.
combination, and this is something that we
Hora
always discuss,
portafolio.
especially because we have a
Hora
GTR
portafolio
in
de
our family.
historia.
So there is a difference.
Mi
Almost to the
internet
point of
dijo a
cultural
mí,
difference in our culture between a GTR and a Z, and we share this, we talk about this, because when we start a new one, you need to make sure that
Muy buenas
you
noches,
inform
es
your
hora de
intuition
dormir. Así
as
que
you
Ve,
lead
7
forward.
viewers.
So
¿Qué
this
tal, chat?
stuff
¿Cómo
is-
están?
buenas noches, Tits. Muy buenas señoritas, por cierto.
Okay.
Acaban. Vamos a
Look,
ver
if that answers your
Canva.
question.
Chat,
we
si
have
tienen
another
una cuenta de
question
Canva.
from our
Más
viewers.
viewers en directo. Un saludo a los viewers. Gracias
Okay,
por
we
votar.
have
Saludos,
our last
saludos.
question
Gracias
now.
por conectarse.
Es una cuenta pro, pero se me
And
expiró.
this is, okay. This
Se te
is,
expiró. Le dije
okay, let me read the question.
en la
With it
clase de
being
arte
so
digital,
long
profe, tengo una
between
cuenta
Z
pro. Y él
models,
ya,
how
pues mano,
important is it
préstame.
Así pasó.
you engage the Z
¿Qué pasó, loco? Pero
enthusiasts?
ya, pues, Creo. Manuel, te paso, texonero. Ya no, profe, me cuenta.
Pásame el Lexonet.
That's an unannounced question.
El profesor te dice que es una cuenta pro de
Take that,
Canva.
Thomas,
Eso es
now.
bueno.
Yeah, actually, it's one of the reminder. But
Como el padre Domingo.
I said,
Padre Domingo.
or we said,
Ya, pues,
the
ya.
conceptual
No,
Ya, pues,
loco.
reaccionado el padre Domingo, ya
Ese
mismo.
man es rarito.
zenith of zenith
Pero si es un sacerdote,
or
Wilson, ¿qué onda?
enthusiast.
Pero no es
So this
católico. al
kind
menos.
of
Seguro.
fundamental,
Sí,
Entonces,
loco,
¿no? Católico.
tiene esposa ahí.
some
Ah, ya,
Nissan
no, pero
wants to show
tienes razón,
about
Wilson, ya.
for our philosophy.
Ya, pero ahí estoy. La
We
guía, chao.
have some area,
¿Qué?
but even we have.
Oye, una imagen premium te cuesta
this
$1.
kind of-
¿Qué onda?
Ah, sí.
That is a
¿Qué,
for,
necesitas cameraman?
important point for the
No.
access we're approaching from Nissan.
O sea, sí.
I think
Pero no voy a
people should
pagar
not
por una marca de
underestimate
agua.
social
Cambio de
media.
por.
To design a car in this era is wonderful. We have a lot of technology, so when we make a car, we are
Gamba Beach.
lifted by technology, but also the voices that reach us. Where maybe 20 years ago, you a bit were designing in isolation, or you did some product planning, does a survey, but we are getting information all the time. And especially with the Z enthusiasts are constantly feeding us with information, opinions, some criticisms, and
which is always good.
And it helps us because, you know, I'd like to paint a picture of what our life is like. So Design Center is around 500 people. And right next to us, there's a big building, 9 floors high, full of engineers. And there's a bridge connecting us. And all day long, teams of engineers are coming into Design Center. And we're talking about everything. So when you see A to Z, in our company, that means we are all doing. So every engineer and the philosophies of the engineers for ARIA are in Z.
Right.
There is not a separation. Right. This is a culture of creativity and innovation. So naturally, it's a DNA of our company. Yeah. So
this is a, let's say, super diversified. And you know, culture meaning sometimes it's nation, but the other hand to say for R&D or a designer or product planning, also we have each own cultures.
Right.
But among them, and make about for nice meals.
Jerry Riggs
and that is, no, sorry,
Jerry
not nice
Rick.
meal. The best of the best
Wilson,
you know, product. That
Tal
is
vez
the,
el nuevo
for example,
407,
Z.
la verdad está bastante bonito.
Okay.
Me gusta,
But can you say that, this is a question for me,
un poco
because of
bastante,
social media,
me gusta más que el 350.
this is maybe a car that
Eso
incorporated a lot of the feedback.
Está innovador.
Do you think that's the right assessment?
Well, I think it confirmed.
Bueno, tampoco innovador, pero el
because
diseño
obviously,
porque ahí
social media didn't know we were
más es enfocado
when we were starting.
Yeah.
But I think it was almost up to a bizarre level. Because really the Z enthusiasts are of every age, every generation. And you have some kids who were born way after, you know, the 240.
Right, yeah.
Who are speaking about the 240 suddenly as if it's their absolute, I must have this car, I love this car.
Yeah.
And I don't think 20 years ago that was necessarily exactly the case. There was always some of that.
Right, yeah.
But, and this kind of, it made us more buoyant. It filled us with oxygen because, yes, so some of the feelings that we are having, these are echoed. And it doesn't matter the age of the person.
Right.
People love the Z. And
well, here's the latest evolution. We're kind of running out of time. I'd like to ask some more questions, but thanks to all the people that participated in this event. Thanks for the amazing questions. And thank you, Alfonso, and thank you, Tamina-san, for your insights to the Nissan Z Proto. And this wraps up our Z Proto Digital Unveil. We hope you had a great time.
Agua en directo, deja ver esa cosa,
Wilson. Yo
creo que cantar algo rápido y furioso.
Thank you very much.
Autos, moda y rock and roll.
Please visit the NissanNext.com. Let's keep the legacy of Z alive. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Ya se acabó.
Tengo ritmo.
Yo no tengo ritmo.
Estuvo bien. Hay una toma final. Thank you.
Estuvo cutre el auto bananín, no te voy a mentir, a mí no me gustó.
Bueno, yo lo veo bastante chido. Y con el motor.
Es como cara de robot, ¿no? Porque si te das cuenta que cada carro, o sea, con los faroles y con
la parrilla más que nada.
Eso sí, con esta cosa
en
de
la parrilla se puede hacer una carnita asada.
Y con
puede ser, pa.
Con el logotipo de la marca, parece una cara. Entonces este tiene cara de robot. Y eso no me gusta. A mí me gustan los carros que están molestos.
Sí. ¿Y por qué te gusta el Miata entonces?
Wow.
Porque me gusta la primera generación.
Ahí está. Aquí está, ya le voy a mostrar. Ahora vamos a hacer una review última de la página que ya está Ya está escrito, ya, o sea, actualizar cuántos caballos tienen. La verdad no lo mencionaron. No, solamente dijeron que tenía un V6 Twin Turbo. Nada más. Y la transmisión manual y eso. Pero ahí no dijeron cifras de peso o cualquier cosa.
Oye, y Wilson, ¿se maneja solito?
No.
Buah, entonces...
Men, eso es un auto de carreras, Rafael.
Pues
Es
ahí te
un
pasó.
auto enfocado en el conductor.
No,
No
es
en el,
yo creo, ¿eh?
Ah, el
no
conductor.
No tiene
es
base.
enfocado en el transporte.
O sea, es de conductores para conductores, así más o menos como Racer.
Sí.
O sea, ese auto es un simulador, me estás diciendo.
No, es que es la realidad. Mira, aquí está, un V6 de 3.7 litros. Y decían también de que la rigidez de los paneles de la construcción estuvo bastante bien. Ve, ahí te dicen, no puedes esperar por el nuevo Z. ¿Qué te parece el 370? O sea, el modelo anterior.
Ya.
Me gustaría
No,
verlo
vamos a
en
ver
más
la cara,
colores,
chicos,
en
voy a
un
hacer
plomo
bulla
tal
chat,
vez.
tápense en los oídos. Pueden ser genidos.
¿Qué tío?
No.
Te vamos a mutear, Manuel. Chat, Creo pues. Ya. A ver,
Tenía que ir a hacer
listo,
esto,
chat.
pero...
Yo creo que hasta aquí queda el... ¿Qué le pasa, Manuel? Ah, este man, lo vamos a mutear. A ver, demos un segundo. Es para hacer la despedida. Vamos a mutear de casco. Es el mismo motor del Z anterior, ahora con 2 turbos. Sí, puede ser, puede ser. Pero el diseño también es lo nuevo, ¿no? Y dicen de que el precio también o sea, más de 400, sí, más de 400 seguro. Está bien, está cool. Nissan le dio bastante hype al
Una
auto.
banana, un video.
Este man. A ver, le dio bastante hype al auto, le dio con los teasers, todo. Está cool, hay que esperar para cuando lo saquen a la venta y esperar que no sea como el 370, que la versión más, o sea, tope de gama, sea como un auto de 2010 y que cueste $50,000. Pero de ahí, bastante cool el diseño, todo muy bonito. Espero que les haya gustado, chat. Esto lo voy a dejar aquí como video, por si luego lo quieren ver, la reacción, el chat, todo. Un saludo a todos los viewers que nos han acompañado por todo el directo. Un saludo en especial a Leo Delgado, que ha estado comentando sobre el auto específicamente. Les deseo una excelente noche y espero les haya gustado el auto y el directo también, como me gustó a mí. Nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós. Ve. Uy, adiós.